Hello, everyone. This is your girl, Erica Wilson, the host of the Had to Happen show. You knew that you had to turn to God because He's the only one that could get you out. Such a blessing to be able to sit with you, son.
You know, like in the isolation, sometimes we feel lonely or not being able to fit in, or this person is not going to bother with me or whatever. But that is the time when God says, "Be still."
Right.
And know that I am God. There you go. Thank you, Jesus.
I'm a single mom with 2 kids, struggling, rape victim, homeless, robbed at gunpoint. All those things had to happen to me to birth me for my purpose today. And that's why I'm standing here today giving back.
We knew then that we was on a long road to recovery. But I say that to say this. It had to happen.
Great evening, everyone. I don't know what's going on, but we're going to get this show on the road today. Let me know if you guys can hear me clearly. We're having some technical difficulties, but we're going to get this story out to you guys on today. So do bear with us. But great evening, everyone. Thank you for tuning in with your girl, Erica Wilson, at It Had to Happen for season 4. Season 4, episode 18. And today's topic is Heaven Didn't Wait, featuring a mother to 2 natural-born children, the late Amari and Ella Barnhill. At 15, her motherhood journey began as she became pregnant with her eldest-born child, Amari. At 19, life suddenly changed yet again due to the murder of Amari. The morning of Wednesday, November 11, 2015, when she received a phone call from Amari's father urging her to go to the hospital. A day that would never end, with the truth beginning to unfold as Amari died under suspicious circumstances in the care of his father. Amari's death was ruled as a homicide on November 12, 2015, and the charge of second-degree murder was added to the other charges his father faced. She relentlessly searched for understanding and support and stumbled across an entire community. She learned she was now a member of parents mourning the loss of their child's life to an act of filicide. Filicide, a person who kills one's child. The act of killing one's child, maternal filicide, paternal filicide, and step-parental filicide. The pain from her grueling loss has sparked a fiery passion within to share Amari's story, and that role led to being coined as the mother to the filicide awareness movement. Many people didn't even know this term existed, myself, prior to her persistence of bringing awareness to the community. By 21 years old, guys, she self-published her first book, The Act of Filicide, the Amari Barnhill story, through her own words. She provides insight into her pain of experiencing his death and the creation of his budding legacy, while offering readers to glean into the precious toddler's life post-mortem, because he was so much more than a Jacksonville toddler found unresponsive on the west side in Hollywood apartments. By the age of 23, her passion still remained as she went on to take the world on by storm with the publication of Heaven Didn't Wait. Grieving, surviving, and healing post the loss of a child, in which she was honored 20 angel children and their families within the memoriam of her book. Showcasing there is a multitude of grieving hearts, yet so few voices that truly speak of the pain. So she took a note from Patti Smith and extended her hand to others who suffer as she understands suffering. So without further ado, let me present to some and introduce to others the strongest woman that I know, Miss Nakesa Barnhill. Welcome, Queen.
You have to make me cry. I'm just like, who's she talking about?
No, it's too early in the show to be crying, but no, that God has his way. Reading this, as I began to search your name, Nakesa, and I came across Jacksonville, the voyage of Jacksonville, and I came across this article, And I know we've talked about this many times, but this time that I read this, it kind of took something out of me. Even from hearing the time when you and I spoke for the very first time and you shared, shared pieces of your story. But I want you to go ahead and tell the people who Nakesa Barnhill is.
Nakesa Barnhill is a fighter. Nakesa Barnhill is a mother. First and foremost, a woman. I go through normal situations like any other person. Fell in love, fell out of love even harder. I'm a hard worker. I'm an entrepreneur. And for you can call me anything you want, but when it comes to my children, I will typically not, well, sometimes I do, but I typically don't fight in the natural sense, but I have been gifted, as well as it's sort of a give and take gift, because it's like sometimes I wish I could give it back, but have the ability to be able to stand for my children in ways that normal people, especially my generation specifically, wouldn't see it as technically protecting them. I cover them spiritually, as well as taken to the battlefield for, like, with Amari not being here, I didn't go after retaliation or anything of that sort. I took it to the judicial system that sentenced his father. I try to make changes for other victims like myself that are left in the aftermath, or for preventing more children from being like Amari, just in that sense. I'm an excruciating mama bear, because once I start something, I won't stop until something starts to unfold and becomes to fruition.
And I think that's most of us mama bears. As a mother, I tell you, it's like the strength of none other. And I tell people, we're some of the most women, period. We're some of the most powerful creatures there is. So when you become a mother, I mean, that thing turned up a notch. You have those type of superpowers then, right? But hearing you say that in your age bracket, one probably would have literally lost their mind, or went after the person that did this to their child. Retaliation, in a sense, right? So when you receive this news, first of all, you were called to come to the hospital. What was going through your mind at that time?
Everything, nothing, trying to silence my mind, because feeling like I was basically speaking things into existence that I didn't know, which I'm trying to go seek answers. So it was like a very much so back and forth, because I was confused. I didn't know what to say, what to do. And with being contacted by his dad, I didn't really feel a sense of urgency until he kept repeating that I needed to go to the hospital, and he wasn't answering any other question, and just kept repeating that statement of how I needed to go to the hospital. And that day became a day etched in my brain for forever.
Wow. I can only imagine, getting a phone call like that, probably like in the middle of the day, correct?
No, it was early morning. We had actually just got off the phone from having a long conversation that night, which that still haunts me, because I still don't really have answers besides what evidence has said. Because he never said a reason or anything in court. He basically kept his silence to, I guess, keep up his form of innocence for his family, or to not tell them or say that he did it to them. But I just got left with facts. And then I just got handed pictures the day that he took the plea deal. But during that whole process, it was very much so unclear. Even though he has a convicted killer, I really don't have any answers outside of what happened, which Amari is no longer here. I have pictures that I can't even really explain. I have pictures of different parts of their old apartment, which I to this day still can't explain. Yeah, it's just a whole. It gets more and more confusing every time I try to piece it together. Honestly.
Now, when you say, because I know the guests are probably wondering is who they, because you said of their apartment. So take us back to who you're speaking about, because your son was not just in the care of his father. Were there other people in the home?
Correct. So there were a total of 5 people present the day that Amari, well, during the time frame where Amari was beaten to sleep. So it was Amari, of course, his biological father, his biological father's then girlfriend, as well as she's also the mother to his 2 little girls. Amari was the oldest out of his siblings. With being a month away from turning 3, he had at the time 3 sisters, 2 from them and 1 from myself. And so those 2 little girls were also present during the time that Amari was beaten to sleep. And they were all in the apartment on the west side of Jacksonville that belonged to his father's girlfriend, which Amari and his father, should have never been at due to their own domestic situations that they had. There was he was on probation, as well as I believe there was a restraining order because he got charged with those. Those were some of the minor charges he was charged with before he was charged with second-degree murder the following day after they did an autopsy on Amari. And so when I say their apartment, I'm referring to, it's actually listed at, well, it was listed as her apartment through government assistance. But they were living together because they were in a relationship. But yeah, Amari should have never been there. That wasn't where I dropped Amari off at, which is why I was so confused. And it took so long to confirm that Amari was the child out on the news on the west side, because people were texting me and calling me, asking me, and I literally had just been broken the news because it took about 2 hours after getting to the hospital until they even took me in a private room and disclosed to me that Amari was no longer on this earth. So yeah, it was a very confusing time frame because I was adamantly saying, like, no, y'all can't be talking about Amari, when people were trying to get me to confirm that it was him. And I was just like, no, he was pretty much near the northwest side of Jacksonville, where I dropped him off to his father at his father's mother's house. But okay, so yeah, it was very much so confusing and disheartening when I did find out, because I have a deeper history with those apartments. That's actually because my last name is Barnhill, my maiden name is Barnhill, and my father owned a children's daycare, as well as my grandmother, his mother, owned it for several years since I was born. And my family's known in the community, and my name is known because of that, firstly. And my family loves children. It continued from my dad, from my grandmother to my dad, for that business. And it was successful for years, until my grandmother got up in age, and then my father decided to no longer continue it once I got pregnant. And my dad used to do drop-offs in Hollybrook Apartments, and I would be coming from school and I would be sitting in the van and we would be collecting children together, and I would be watching my friends go back to their apartments and stuff. And it literally was down the street from the actual brick and mortar building that the facility that was named Nakesa's Learning Center was at, as well as it is about 2 blocks away from the land that my grandmother, the original LMA Barnhill, had left for me when she passed away when I was still a minor. So it was very much so bittersweet because the time frame that I found out about the property was also days right before finding out the murder of Amari.
Jesus. Wait a minute. So you mean to tell me before you even found out about your child, people were reaching out to you already via Facebook? They
Yes.
saw it on. Wow. So getting these phone calls and you're at the hospital, I know your emotions running wild because you still didn't see your baby. I got a big lump
I
in
was
my throat.
talking like I knew everything. I was like, even though I'm a minor technically, he's not supposed to be back there without having a parent present or someone who is a guardian to him. So let me see my child, or I'm calling somebody.
Right. So you said it took you 2 hours to get back there with, in the room with him?
They didn't even allow me in the room with him because I believe they were still either basically trying to revive him or something of the sort. Well, basically because they don't, something else that I learned through this process, they don't announce or call a time of death for a minor child on the scene. They have to work the child up as much as they can in order to not have the people on the scene turn hysterical. So that's what they did. But technically, when they got there, Amari was already dead. He was gone.
Wow. So 2 hours you're sitting out there in this waiting room.
Yep. It was me, my mother, because my uncle, my grandmother was on the road coming from South Carolina because she almost got in a car accident when my uncle and my mother had to call her and tell her the news. So it was my uncle who dropped us off. My mother, she was holding Ella was like 2 months old at the time. She was in her car seat, myself, and literally, because I ran in, I didn't even care for the car to stop. I didn't try to worry about getting Ella or anything. When we got to the hospital, I opened the door, slammed it behind me, and ran to the the sliding doors for the emergency room. And so then they sat me down and got my information, and they were just like, you just need to sit here and wait. So then with my mother and Ella getting out the car, when they came in the sliding doors, along with those two was another party, which was his convicted killer's sister, which would have been one of Amari's aunts on his father's side. And according to the conversation that me and his father had to get me to the hospital, he told me that Amari was with her and his mother. And so I'm trying to ask her questions, and she's looking at me like, I don't know what to tell you. He wasn't with me. I don't know what's going on either. Jesus. So then we sat down all together, my mother and Ella on this side of me, and she's on this side of me. And so like I'm panicking because now I'm just like, okay, so he just lied. And now I still don't know what's going on. And if he called me and told me to get here, that means he's not here. So then that's when I really started panicking because I was like, okay, let me spout off the little knowledge that I do know. He's a minor child. I'm his legal guardian. I'm his parent. He's been filed on my taxes. I can prove it. I can give you a birth certificate, whatever you want. I made that little human tell me what's going on with him. So doing all of that. So once they kept basically ignoring me, but trying to reassure me at the same time, I'm getting more and more in my head, and it's just giving me this sinking feeling. Like I can't control anything. I'm not able to fix anything. I'm not able to know anything. So start crying. Then my mom's looking at me like, why are you crying? You just need to be praying. We don't know what's going on. It could be something in the smallest, and they're just overreacting. And I'm just still in my head. These are a lot of people to just be overreacting. And they have practice in this sort of thing. So I'm pretty sure they wouldn't just overreact. So if they ain't trying to say nothing, I'm just gonna sit here and cry my little tears, and you just gonna have to deal with it. So then me and the sister had like a sort of bonding moment of crying together. And so with her crying, that intensified my crying, because I'm just like, okay, so maybe you do know something more than what I know, because I don't know nothing. And you was allegedly one of the last people with him. So can you give me some type of information, some type of something? So we sitting here, we crying. Then finally a white male nurse comes and it's like, just come with me. So I'm thinking he about to take me back to Amari, like, okay, I'm jumping up, I'm happy, I'm ready to go. Where my baby at? Point it. I'll run. I wasn't in track, but it's gonna look like I was in track today. So he instead takes us to this little private room that was like off to the side in front of us, sort of, because the chairs for where we were sitting, which was behind the desk of where everybody else is, because we weren't in the main lobby. We were in a private area that was sort of like in between the back of the ER and the general public area of the ER. And we were in Wilson's Children's Hospital in Jacksonville, Florida, if anybody needed basically context of how it looks. And so Labrina and I, which is the sister, we go into the room, and like my mom's just tending Ella right now. So she's like, just go find out about your baby. I'll be here, whatever. So he takes us in the room, and the first thing out of her mouth is Amari dead? I just look. That's a strange question. That's a direct question. And okay, so that snatched me back to like, oh, like we serious now. It's not no time for play. This is not a drill. This is not nothing of something small. This is letting me know this is a life and death situation. And I'm just like, because at this point, I don't know what's wrong. I'm thinking like Amari got into some bleach or played in traffic or anything else except for what I was literally about to be told. So with that question that she posed, the nurse was shocked, just like I was shocked. And so he looking at her, I'm looking at him, look at her, and he just drops his head. And he stood there for a second, and then he just looked up at me. We made eye contact, and then he just shook his head, no. And I let out a scream. I didn't even know I could scream. And at this point, I'm operating off of adrenaline, confusion, hatred, sadness, mad, fear, just anything and everything. Because literally 10 days ago, basically, my son was happy, whole, and alive, and I was dropping him off to his daddy, happy that his dad was starting to act like a father and be there and present in his life. And literally the night before, I agreed to take his father off of child support. I was agreeing to give him to him more often and saying like we're both growing, even though we got different situations and people involved. Because at this point, like I said, he has 2 daughters from another person, and I had my daughter from another person who is now from my soon-to-be ex-husband. And it was just like, okay, so operate off of reflexes. The last thing that he said, which you're gonna basically at this point take as the truth and don't trust nobody and whatever nobody got to say. Okay, last thing he said was his sister and his mama had him. I turned to his sister, and in that scream and in that rage, and mind you, all of this is happening in milliseconds in my head. And so after the scream, I just jump on her like, you responsible. You his aunt. You're supposed to be one of his protectors. When he's not in my care, he's supposed to be all right in your care, his dad's care, the person who was probably going to be his stepmama care, all of them. So how did this happen? So I'm fighting her. We're going back and forth, and with the scream and everything, my mom hears, and she comes and she tries to intervene. And she act like she don't got my daughter in the car seat, and my daughter just swinging. And I'm just like, "Oh, F no, you ain't about to hurt my other child." And so I jump on her again, and then we finally get broken up by security. And they escort her out. At this point, she's no longer involved. I didn't keep her abreast of anything. And basically that was like pretty much my last time speaking to her due to the situation and circumstances of everything that happened. And yeah, because later on, right after they took me into a private room, once they escorted her out, on the way of taking me to the private room, I fainted. Everything went black. After the adrenaline surge of trying to yell at her and fight her and trying to figure out what's going on, when they closed the door of letting her go out to wherever she ended up going to that day after finding out her nephew's no longer on this earth, I was like, what? Why? And I just fell to the ground. And so the next thing I remember, I'm waking up in a private room, I guess, where they check out patients and stuff to be able to get them back out. And they're trying to make sure I'm okay, that I don't need to be admitted. And that's when I woke up to like 4 other family members in the room at the time, and more calling and trying to figure out, okay, so this is when I started to come to, and I posted on my social media while I was sitting in the little gurney bed thing. I posted on my social media, Amari is dead.
Wow.
And from there, it was chaotic. I was flooded with DMs, text messages, people writing on my status saying, "Don't play like that. How dare you?" And I'm just like, if you know me, you knew I wouldn't play like nothing about this. And so I basically got off of social media at that point, because my grandmother was telling my mother, like, that's not healthy for me, and be careful, and I'm about to be in the eyes of the public for a while, so just chill and it'll blow over. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. Me being 19, being the me who was a disobedient, rambunctious, doing what I want to do type teenager. That's how my behind got pregnant in the first place. Okay. Type of child / teenager / woman / whatever I was at that point. Mm-hmm. It was going in one ear out the other. I was like, y'all don't know nothing. I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm gonna write what I want to write. It's my social media. I can do what I want to do. So I'll just get off of it for a while, because they basically still trying to check on me, make sure I'm okay, taking my blood pressure, whatnot. And so, because mind you, I have a 2-month-old, I'm breastfeeding, all this stuff. So they're trying to make sure I'm okay, having been given this news and everything. So at this point now, I'm sort of calm. Okay, what happened? Let me see my child, all this stuff. Like, at this point, I'm living in a movie, so we about to act like a movie. The mama want to see her child, she gonna see her child. Let's get into it. Nothing like that. So once I calmed down, they did send us over to the police station. So at the police station at the time.
Really quick. Where was the father doing all of this?
I had no clue. I later found out that he was arrested right after he got off the phone with me, because that was the last lie that he told them. Because with saying other people were involved now, they knew that something was suspicious, as well as with all the marks that were on Amari.
Okay, so that's how it really ended up in the media, because they arrested him on the scene. Because I was a little confused. I was trying to figure out how did it get out there so quick. So they arrested him on the scene and by the time it hit the media, everyone was reaching out to you. So
Yes.
you're at the hospital, you're experiencing all of this, still not being able to see your baby, but knowing that he's now deceased. How long did it take you to actually get back there to actually lay eyes and identify the body? And how hard was that?
Okay. So they do not allow that at the hospital, or at least they did not, because I guess he was a minor child or whatever. But they did not allow me to do any of that at the hospital. So literally, my day went from finding out about it about 10 o'clock in the morning, literally about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, going to the police station, them telling me what they knew. Well, his detective Jessica Schaus. She was the lead detective on his case. I still love this woman to this day. She is forever in my heart. I'm forever grateful for her. She's an impeccable human being. And she literally told me, my uncle's wife at the time, and my mother, and his two daughters were there, as well as baby girl Ella was there. And that was when we found out that Amari didn't pass away by any accident or anything. It was intentional. It was him being beaten to death and his heart stopping and having internal bleeding and different, not even all of that description, but literally finding out that it wasn't an accident. It was intentional. It was a person continuing to hit a child, or a physical manner of being unalived. And so that was a very hard pill for my family to swallow, because my uncle wanted to fully believe like it was an accident, or Amari was like pushed into traffic or slipped or drank bleach, or something that would be something that could sort of make sense as an accident of what a child can basically get into, even though Amari was a pretty coherent toddler. So then moving from there, then we were told to say what funeral home we wanted him to be sent to and everything. And once we figured that out, then we went to the funeral home, and my family and I went into the room of the director, because it was at Holmes, Glover, and Solomon funeral home near Gateway. And I knew them because two of the active overseers and stuff of the company, their children went to school with Amari, daycare, as well as with Ella. And so it was like family. And when we finally got there, I somewhat was given a different level, or the next level of some type of closure, for more than just words that Amari was no longer here. At that time is when they literally, I guess, called or figured it out with the mortuary, not the mortuary, the morgue. And they coordinated together, and literally virtually, that was how Amari's body was shown to my family, and actually was not given that privilege, due to my uncle trying to protect me, because like I said, I was 19. I had a infant, a 2-month-old little baby girl, and they were trying not to continue to scar me, even though I kept trying to voice and speak up for myself, saying I could handle it. They did not believe I could handle it. And I'm somewhat grateful even to this day, because I don't know how I would have reacted. Because even at the very end of this, when his father took a plea deal 2.5 years later, I was just handed the crime scene photos and the 911 phone call and all these other things, and I didn't know what to do with it. I was beating myself up so much, and I was having so much self-guilt and self-hate, that I went through every single one of the pictures, and it literally had his body cut up from when they did the autopsy and everything. And I forced myself to sit there crying everything. And it intensified my rage, my grief, my confusion, just everything. And I probably would have still beat myself up seeing him lay there like that. But with me being myself, my uncle had to actually pick me up in the chair and take me out. And so him nor I identified Amari. My mother identified Amari for the Barnhill family.
Oh, Jesus. My God. Wow. So, wow. Move it. Moving okay, so the day you were at the funeral home, and y'all bear with me because I done heard this story a couple of times and it never got to me like this. I don't think you got in debt with it like this before. And being a mother to another mother and being like a mother to you.
I'm sorry, because like, oh, yeah.
So you're there. And your uncle is looking out for your best interests. And he takes you out the room. To only later on to get these files of the whole entire case. And to see all of these pictures of your baby. Like you said, you saw everything. From the cuts, I guess, when they did the autopsy. And I know that you shared a couple of the photos on Facebook, and I just, the day in court, when you got
Which day? Because it was multiple days. It felt like an eternity. At one point, it was 2-3 times a month.
Yeah.
And they would literally just pass it. Like, y'all, literally, y'all don't understand the preparation I have to do to face this day, to face his entire family who was supporting him and bashing me and harassing me and calling me a liar and saying I'm the evil one. I should be in prison. I did something to my child, trying to get the general public on their side to even put doubt.
I don't mean to cut you off, but what I want you to do, I want you to make this about you and Amari. I don't want you to make this about them. I want you to make this about you and Amari, because you're doing a thing for him right now that I can say, I commend you and I salute you, Queen, for standing strong and doing this for your son and making these things happen. In the midst of your grief, in the midst of your pain, in the midst of your confusion, you stood by the grace of God. And I just want to share with the audience right now something that you did probably a month ago when I got that phone call to go with you to Tallahassee. I wish I could have experienced that with you. I really do. But I was there in spirit. But thank you for even thinking of me to reach out to me, to ask me to be there with you. So I want to go ahead and share the video and watch how this mother stood strong and watch what she's doing for her son, the late Amari Barnhill.
Uh-oh. Where's the video? Okay.
Amari Barnhill was just 2 when he was murdered by his father in 2015. Now, Amari's mother is fighting for change for the family of crime victims. She's part of a group of hundreds heading from Jacksonville to Tallahassee tomorrow. Action News Jack's Robert Grant joins us live on the West Side. And Robert, they're not just fighting for victims here.
Yeah, John, they're also rallying behind the suspects of these crimes. You can see all the victims here, homicides right here in Jacksonville. But one victim in particular, Amari Barnhill, inspiring change even after his death. Listed on this sign are the names of hundreds of homicide victims.
Gone too soon, but all of the powerful families that are left behind.
The families Nakesa Barnhill now fights for in honor of one special name.
Right there is Amari's name.
Amari Barnhill, Nakesa's son, murdered by his father at just 2 years old. He would have turned 10 this year.
It opened my eyes to see the world in a different way, and it tapped deeper into my compassion and my empathy.
That empathy even reaches her son's killer, Darian Head, serving 25 years after he pleaded guilty to second-degree murder.
I've reached a level of acceptance and awareness to where I understand that my son's not coming back, but I still have forgiven.
Nakesa is fighting for criminal rights. HB 1259 would automatically seal criminal history records for some crimes less than a felony. HB 611 details probation reform. But close to her heart, rights for survivors of violence. HB 949, requiring employers to give at least 3 days of unpaid leave to give families of homicide victims time to grieve.
Sadly, with legislatures and stuff that's currently in place, we aren't protected and we don't have someone actually looking out for us.
So she's leading the way to change, just like the man she says Amari would have grown to become.
He was the epitome of a big brother. He protected those little girls. He loved them.
And that group will leave from families of slain children here tomorrow morning. They're going to meet with about 800 total family members of homicide victims from across the state. All of them will be in Tallahassee. For now, live on the West Side, Robert Grant, CBS 47, Fox 30, Action News Jax.
If you haven't but traveled through Hopper, you missing out.
Oh, yeah. Nakesa, I'm so very proud of you. I am so very proud of you. And the things that you're doing, the awareness you're bringing to the people. Because I said earlier, I never even heard of filicide before meeting you. And I'm not even sure if you heard of it before, you know, what took place. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
Yeah.
No, ma'am.
Yeah. So that's the thing. The thing that I can't commend you enough for doing what you did. And you also had, was it a proclamation in Jacksonville as well? And I remember receiving that. I think you sent me that like 6 something in the morning when you sent me. And all I could do is just.
As soon as I got it.
Yes. We all know that, guys. We're here today with episode 18 of Heaven Didn't Wait. It's such a sad story. However, Nakesa is doing some great things in the community to bring awareness, not just in the community, not in just the Jacksonville community. She's spreading her hustle, letting Amari light shine all over the place. And not only did she write the book Heaven Didn't Wait, where our topic comes from, she's also an author of how many books, daughter?
2 officially published, but more are on the way. Trust me.
Trust me, I believe you. If nobody else doesn't believe you, I believe you. So I'm telling you, show this young mother some love. But listen, we here at It Had to Happen. We know it's about our journey, our pains, and our purpose. But now that you experienced all of these things at a young age, but God knew that he can trust you. He knew that he can trust you. And what I want you to do moving forward, when you begin to speak about your story, don't even acknowledge. You can tell the story about how it happened, but as far as the other people that was involved, baby, let it go. You did what you needed to do.
Now I just need Dr. Phil to come back around. I can handle it this time.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about, daughter. But guys, let me tell you something. Nakesa have some new stuff going on outside of her books, okay? Nakesa found happiness, new love in her life. So Nakesa, go ahead and tell us about that.
So this incredible, I'm sorry, I started to blush. This incredible man came in my life out of nowhere, found my behind on TikTok of all places. I'm a social media person, so I honestly don't know why I'm so shocked, but God did that thing, y'all. But he brought this amazing man into my life. I had did a TikTok about who wanted to be my friend. And he slid in my DMs and actually became my friend. We friend zoned each other because we had so much other stuff going on. And in time, I gave him my phone number. We were texting and talking on the phone every day. Then the texts and phone calls turned into FaceTimes every day. And literally now, I'm ready to have that man's last name. I just need to get rid of somebody else's last name first.
Oh my gosh. But guys, let me tell y'all something, right? Listen, she called me for everything else. She didn't tell me about this. Okay. I had to go to Facebook and I had to see this on her Facebook page. And I didn't even comment. I didn't even say anything. I was just waiting for her to tell me, because I'm telling you guys, 6:00 in the morning, I get the phone calls, I get the texts, but I didn't get one about this one, okay? But it's okay. But I can see in the green room, I was speaking with Nakesa and I was telling her, I see the glow, but I thought it was another kind of glow, guys. But she has this glow on her, and I can see the happiness. She's dealt with so much, even after the death. And to hear she's in a place where she's happy and someone is accepting her for her and let her heal during the process of dating, hearing her, learning her, and just being there for her. So shouts out to you, Mr. Daniel. He says, I love you.
When y'all see him being, he been in the chat too. He been active. That's my little supporter.
All right. So tell us how we can get this book, Heaven Didn't Wait, if one wants to read the book or even any of your books. But I know you have one on hand. If you could go ahead and show us that book and tell us how we can get this book.
Heaven Didn't Wait. You can get it by going to Amazon.com and you can purchase it, or you can even message me on Facebook and I will give you my CashApp and I can send you a signed one to your mailing address.
All
and
right.
I literally designed this book front to back. Ooh, can't even say the pages. The sun's so bright.
But not only that, guys, didn't you publish your own book as well?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And all the other ones.
So tell us what else you have going on, Nakesa, outside of your books, because I think you have a closet. So just tell us what you have going on right now.
Yes, I have a small business, a boutique for online women's accessories and clothing, apparel. And I actually just closed out my business out in Florida. And now, since I have relocated, I have now started up my business and still getting a couple things straight, but it's official in my new state and everything is just moving along nicely in that regard. I do have my nonprofit still operating in Jacksonville, Florida, as well as my new state. I'm not going to technically reveal it to y'all yet, but yeah, y'all can stay tuned. If y'all want to know a little bit more about your girl, you're going to have to stay tuned. I'm not giving out all the juicy details yet.
I know.
Yes, you know.
Oh, yes. But guys, do solicit her business, her books. She has not just Heaven Didn't Wait. She also have Acts of Filicide, which I'm sure if any of you, like I said, I didn't know. Is that it right there? Take it over a little bit. There we go. The Acts of Filicide, the Amari Barnhill story. That book she wrote and published is about her late son, 2-year-old, now would have been How old? 10? Oh my gosh.
I'm
No.
old. I've admitted to myself, I'm old. I'm out the game.
All right, Daniel, you're going to let me have my time with my daughter, okay? You're going to let me have my time with her. I see you told her you love her already, but okay, just let me have my time. But yes, I'm so happy for you, Nakesa, and the things that you're doing. Especially you found love and found someone who can be there for you and love you for you. You know, sometimes we meet people in the strangest places, but who knows? Let me tell you something, Nakesa. I was sharing with my producer in the green room. I am so full today because I've got so much great news and what God is doing in people's lives. And I'm telling you, when you can praise with somebody else when they get their blessings, man, 2 people that reached out to me for prayer. One of them is going home from the hospital today. Glory be to God. And the second one going home tomorrow after 4 months. So I am
that deserves a praise break.
Yes, God is definitely doing a thing in this season, guys. And I'm telling you, get ready. Set yourself before God. Sup with God, read your word, whatever it is that you have to do to get close to God, because he's doing a thing in this season and you don't want to miss out. And Nakesa, I'm loving what he's doing for you, even though I didn't see my little Ella Bella today, but that's okay. I'm sure you'll send me pictures and, fill me in. But we're going to talk because you tell me everything else and you, yeah. But we ain't going to go there. Guys, we're here live today with the girl, Erica Wilson, and it had to happen for season 4, episode 18, Heaven Didn't Wait, by Miss Nakesa Barnhill. Go over to Amazon and support your girl. So Nakesa, tell us, is there anything that you would like to leave with the audience on today?
The only thing hindering you is you.
That's good. I need that in the comments. The only thing that's hindering you is you. So, Mr. Daniel, this is my message for you. One, I can't.
I need to go.
And I do travel. Okay. Nakesa will tell you guys about that. But listen, when I received the phone call, I'm taking them back on how you and I met. No, it was the inbox. Look, a lot of things happen in the DM. Yeah. But I received the DM about you, and I was telling God, I'm like, wait a minute, how am I supposed to talk to her or consult? I don't know. I just don't know. And when we got on the phone, guys, the Holy Spirit just had his way, and we were on the phone crying, laughing.
Yes.
I mean, emotions was everywhere. But the thing is, Nakesa, what touched me the most is the moment you got out of court, you came straight to me. The very moment you got out of court, you came straight to me. And I think we were having 88 Blessings
appreciation
luncheon. Yeah, appreciation luncheon. And you came straight over, and it just was like a bond ever since. And Nakesa, no, I could get on her at times, but she take it with love. And
because you're my mama, period.
Right. Get that off of Facebook. That don't belong there. She'll do it. No lip back. She will do it because she know that I mean well for her. And Nakesa, trust me, you knew from time you met me, what you see is what you get. I love you, daughter. And whatever it is that I support, you know that I'm there. So just go over a couple of the things that you have going on right now. Tell us about that proclamation really quick, as well as what you did in Tallahassee. And lastly, how they could get that book again.
Okay. So what I have going on right now, coming up April 10th through the 16th, is the proclamation for Filicide Awareness Week. April is National Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month. And so for the last 3 or 4 years, I have found a way to be able to create the holiday by reaching out to my mayor, as well as I have other parents doing it. I'm still going to wait till the end of this week to announce what other states have participated, because other filicide parents have reached out to me and asked for the proclamation and went on the website in order to get the proclamation to send to their local mayor and or governor, and to create it in other states as well. And so, yeah, it runs from April 10th to April 16th. And it's Filicide Awareness Week, where we bring about homage to all of those who are filicide victims, which can include adult children and minor children. Because I'd say this every time I'm on here, but it's still a fun fact that most people don't know, so I bring it out as awareness. Marvin Gaye, the singer, was actually a filicide adult victim because he was shot and killed by his biological father. And so it happens everywhere. It's happened throughout the history of time. It's written about in literature and different things. With my small business of having a women's boutique, what is May's Secret Boutique, I started that during a pandemic, as well as going through a divorce and a critical time in my life. I'm shifting now to where I'm continuing it because it's become, well, clothes have always been my passion, and that's how I express myself. But continuing it until I reach my goal for setting a brick and mortar. So it will continue to be online until that day. Working on other books. The little teasers to throw out at you. Baker acted while Black, because I did unfortunately experience the situation of being wrongfully Baker acted, as well as Naked and Bare. My initials are Nakesa Barnhill for my maiden name, so NB. And yeah, a couple of other things I got in the works. I'm working on a docu-series of explaining filicide and having other filicide parents to help me for explaining it and their stories and things of that nature. I'm still trying to figure out all of the moving pieces and what things I need to do, because hopefully before his father does come out of jail, which will be in 2039, I hope to have a registry similar to the child sexual assault registry, to where it'll be a list of convicted child killers, so that the world and the community can be aware, because they might not have sexually assaulted them, but they may have harmed them to where they are no longer alive. And most times when you look up situations and circumstances, it literally just lists the charge. Like right now, if you look up his father's case, all you will see is second-degree murder, not of a minor or anything of the sort. It's only listed for minors when it's sexual assault. So hopefully that will change and be something that we can continue to have adapted in the future. And for the Tallahassee trip, it was phenomenal. It was a great day. I actually spoke to the House representative and his assistant, as well as with 3 other crime victims for Representative Byrd. And that went phenomenal. I'm still waiting to hear officially about the process of how all 3 did. But I know we had a little bit of struggle with one, which was House Bill 949, the main one I was fighting for, due to, being in a pandemic and people not really wanting to let their workers off or go, especially with our generation being so quick to quit. But last time I checked on it, everything was still doing well. So hopefully I can give you an update of that later on, that everything is still well and good. But even if it didn't pass today, I'm sure that come next year, we'll be right back there to speak and say, hey, we ain't going nowhere. We need these changes. We are victims, and we're moving from victims to survivors. We live with this every day, and we're going to make our voices heard because the people that we loved aren't here. And grieving would be so much more normal if we looked at it at the fact that grief is love. You literally love someone on a day-to-day basis. And then when they're no longer here, it's considered grieving. and you no longer have them physically here to receive and give it back to you, into the world, and you're giving off that energy. And grieving is literally using and mourning that person in your spirit, and continue to keep it on yourself and grow more as a person, and just holistically, when you understand that even though they're not here, you can live on and make changes for them, even if they wouldn't have grown up to be that person. You are who you are in your core, and you can grow to be someone who never thought you would be. Because looking back at 19 to now 25, almost 26, I never thought I would be here. But I love the space that I'm in. I'm operating it fully. And I give no other thanks to anybody but God, because Lord knows I've been through trial after trial. And if it wasn't one thing at one point, it was definitely another. When I was fine with court, then literally a whole another court thing started in my household. And so it's definitely a process. So I appreciate you guys for listening to me and being able to speak. And I think I spoke about everything that you listed. Did I?
You did. You did such a
Okay.
phenomenal job. You're not just you're a great listener as well. I noticed that about you as well. But I commend you for it all. I commend you for it all, because I tell you, I can only imagine. So again, salute to you, Queen. I'm praying that that bill do pass, because that is something that we should know. Um, I'm telling you, I'm caught up. I'm literally caught up. But I want you to go on and keep pushing the things that you're doing. Don't stop, because I see you do your best work under pressure. And I know that you trust God in everything that He's doing, He's getting ready to do, and will continue to do. Just keep putting your best foot forward, daughter, and know that that your work is not going unnoticed. You're shedding a light for so many people, and I think every mother, father should hear this, because this is not something that filicide is not something that just happened to a kid. You spoke about Marvin Gaye. That happened to older folks as well. So continue to spread the word, continue to share the awareness. And if there's anything, like I said, that I can do on my end, you know that I'm here. I'm happy for you, but most of all, I am so very proud of you and the things that you're doing. Keep on keeping on, and you know I will keep going before the throne of grace for you, lifting you up in prayer, and Baba in heaven for you, because the things that you're doing is so needed. But again, guys, God is doing some amazing things in this season. 3 praise reports on today, by the glory of God, by God's grace, only by God's grace. 3 of them, and I celebrate with each and every one of them. We are so honored to have each and every one of you in here with us on It Had to Happen, taking time out of your day to listen to us, to support us on our show. We're forever grateful for each and every one of you. God bless you. Please be safe. Support the young queen here. She has some fabulous things that's going on and getting ready to happen soon. She spoke about 2 other books that's coming up. Know that she's doing a thing, and God is definitely working in her. Her light is shining. But whatever your it is, just know your it had to happen for you to share with someone else. God bless each and every one of you. Meet me back here on Monday at 5:30 for our prayer broadcast. Nakesa, I want to start seeing you on that prayer broadcast as well. Tune in, you and your fiance, because God is definitely doing a thing, like I said, in this season. And I just love to hear praise reports and love to praise with other people. But 5:30 next Monday, God's willing, meet me back here. Daughter, I love you. Tell my grandbaby I said hello. And her grandbabies. Oh, I have to meet my new one.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Baby, sorry, Dan. You tried to tell my heart. Wait, I go try to tell my head and not
my head, not my heart.
Okay, there we go. God bless each and every one of you. Until next time, be blessed, be safe, and love on somebody today. Just call them up and tell them how much you love them. I just call them and just say hello. So, Nakesa, let's send out some virtual hugs and some virtual love. Because, guys, we love you here at It Had to Happen. Until next time, God bless you. Bye-bye.
Erica's Empowering Empire. 88 Blessings Soar Movement. It had to happen in a beauty so rare. We'd love for you to join us by subscribing to our YouTube channel, It Had to Happen with Erica Wilson. Following our social media.